Hey everybody, welcome to the weekly Magic News Update for August 27th on the Leek. I'm John as always, and we got some juicy Ixalan news along with a couple of other items this week. Up first, of some interest to people, including myself, a lawsuit brought forth by a man in California against Wizards of the Coast was shot down by a federal judge. The lawsuit pertained to the 20 years that the man had, quote-unquote, worked as a Magic judge without pay. If that sounds familiar, it's because a very similar and much larger lawsuit is also happening, though I'm not certain in which state, involving some very high-profile judge community members. This was in the news when a group of high-profile judges were banned for a few months for being a source of leaked card information, which, frankly, I strongly agree with. The basics of the lawsuit are that judges have to be properly certified and they're required to run events in order for the events to run, and therefore are dangerously close to being an employee. This obviously changes country to country, and I would imagine changes even state to state. However, precedence has now been somewhat set in California that the judge program is purely voluntary and could be abandoned at any time, which is pretty true, and therefore the lawsuit was dismissed. What this means for the larger lawsuit, who knows? As a judge myself, all I'll say is that I have opinions on the matter, and leave it at that. In a bit of MTGO news, Vintage Leagues are going to start this Wednesday, August 30th. They'll fire just like other constructed leagues we currently have, but you'll finally be able to use all of those Power 9 cards and such in a league, which is great for me personally because I bought a set of Moxes at a ridiculously low price, and boy have they spiked this week. That being said, I'm still several $100s away from, playing really any sort of top-tier Vintage deck, so I don't think I'll be playing them anytime soon. For those who are ready to rumble in Vintage though, get ready. They're coming this week. This week we had some Ixalan leaks. Now I was deep in the midst of set release, Grand Prix, etc. hecticness, and so didn't have a weekly news update the week that the entire Ixalan rare sheet was leaked. Were I around, I would have simply mentioned that I had no intention of talking about it because I really don't care for third-party leaks. What happened there was at least a breach of contract and likely just straight-up theft. An actual crime. This week, though, the promos for Ixalan were briefly added to the WPN site before being taken down. These I'll talk about as it was a first-party accidental quote-unquote leak. But just to break down my policy on leaks for the future, first-party accidents, I'll talk about them. I'll talk about the cards in depth. I'll show the cards. Third-party theft? No, not happening. The first bit of info that we got was about the double-sided tokens that we're getting as FNM promos going forward. This was another big bit of news that I missed talking about, but I'm relatively in favor of the change. I love tokens, and I really dislike when something like Fatal Push comes along and the entire dynamic and even demographic of FNM changes. The way that my local game store was doing it, I was actually in danger of not being able to play Magic for an entire month because of this stupid Fatal Push promo. I go to FNM to play Magic, to have fun, to see people I enjoy seeing. A promo is just a cool bonus, and I don't expect it to be valuable enough to pay for multiple other drafts, etc. If your store only offers the promo as the prize, that's not Wizards' fault. That's your store being really, really crappy to you as a player and as a customer. Anyways, we get to see what our first set of tokens are for the next 3 months. We've got a 3/3 dinosaur with trample, a 1/1 vampire with lifelink, and a 2/2 pirate with menace. Each token has a treasure token on the back, which works just like the gold token from King Makar from the Theros block, tapping and sacking it to make a mana of any color. Each backside treasure is themed to the front side token, which is kind of cool. The dinosaur one has a jungle themed treasure. The pirate one has a pirate themed treasure. I'm going to be very happy to collect as many of these as I can by doing well at FNMs. I love tokens. I try to use tokens as much as possible. It just makes the board state cleaner. Plus you get to customize your tokens a little bit. Finally, the 4 promos for this set were revealed. Up first, for anyone attending a draft weekend event the weekend that Ixalan is released, we'll get a promo Bishop of Rebirth. 3 white for a 3/4 vampire cleric with vigilance, and whenever Bishop of Rebirth attacks, you may return target creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard directly to the battlefield. Basically, it's a smaller Sun Titan that doesn't trigger on ETB. Seems like it's going to be fantastic and limited. I'll first pick it every time, I'm pretty sure, though likely not enough for Constructed, which is pretty standard for the draft weekend promos. The League promo has some people pretty excited. It's Unclaimed Territory. It's an uncommon land that you choose a creature type as it enters the battlefield. It taps for a colorless or taps for any color of mana used only to cast creatures of the chosen type. It's Cavern of Souls. minus the can't be countered clause, which is a pretty big missing piece, but this is still sort of a budget version of Cavern of Souls that I've seen some people be very, very excited about. You can get this by taking part in the official Wizards League programs if your store runs it. If they don't, look into it, see if they can run it. Walk the Plank is the game day participation promo. It's black for a sorcery that says destroy target non-merfolk creature. We had a similar card in the original Innistrad called Victim of Night that killed non-zombie, vampire, or werewolf creatures, but it was instant speed, which was a lot better, and it was an amazing card, even with that creature type restrictions, and those were very relevant creature types. The sorcery speed on this is going to hurt it a bit for sure, but it'll still probably be relatively decent removal that you'll simply have to side out in the occasional match. Finally, the Buy a Box promo is Burning Sun's Avatar, a giant fiery angry dinosaur. For 3 red, you get a 6/6 dinosaur avatar, which when it enters the battlefield, deals 3 damage to target opponent and up to 1 target creature. 6 mana for a 6/6 that also lightning bolts your opponent and lightning bolts a creature is extremely good. Though boy, that triple red looks a little tiny bit harsh. Still, very likely to be one of those very bomby limited bombs that are going to be great when you play them, but are going to get stuck in your hand just a little tiny bit too often for comfort. Probably fantastic. It's not like the 15 mana cards that you never get to cast, but you got to be careful with triple color pips. Anyways, that's a bigger week of news than we've had for a few weeks, but let me know what you think of those new cards. Let me know what you think of the Vintage Leagues. Are you going to play them? Yell about the F&M token promos, etc. in the comments down below. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you can find me on Twitter at the Mana Leek. That's L-E-E-K, like the vegetable, not the card. You can also find me at facebook.com/themanaleek, twitch.tv/themanaleek, and patreon.com/themanaleek. If you like the content, click that thumbs up button. If you haven't already and you want to see more, click subscribe. And if you do have questions, comments, or suggestions, let me know. Otherwise, see y'all next time.